Welcome to Pong Academy. This presentation is a shorter version of a presentation at the 2024 HPC Spring Virtual Meeting on April 19, 2024. The Healthcare Packaging Consortium at Christian Brothers University hosted the meeting. The title of this presentation is Packing Tape on Corrugated Box: Effective Temperature and Relative Humidity. The work was conducted at Christian Brothers University by Dr. Pong Malazri and Ms. Ana Sanchez. Often packing tape is not sticking to a corrugated box. Reasons include dust on the box, recycled content of the box, type of adhesive used, and environmental condition. This study focused on the environmental conditions, that is temperature and humidity. There is an ASTM standard for testing adhesive strength of packing tape. ASTM D330. It sticks packing tape on a metal substrate. The peel test is performed at 90-degree angle and at 180-degree angle. This study did not follow ASTM D330. It is more realistic to stick packing tape on corrugated strip. Corrugated contributes to the peeling of packing tape. This study used a simple single lap shear test. The width of test specimen was 25.4 mm or 1 inch. However, we did not follow the standard overlap length of 12.7 mm. Instead, we used 1 inch or 25.4 mm overlap length. This gave the shear area exactly 1 square inch. Initially we used 2-inch overlap length. However, the shear strength was too strong. Thus, failure occurred in the member by tension. The lap shear test is used in some ASTM standards, including D3163 and D1002. Lap shear can be single lap shear as we used in this study. It can also be double lap shear to avoid the bending of the joint due to eccentricity of applied forces. This slide shows the test setup and how the shear stress was calculated. Two 1-inch width strips of corrugated were joined by packaging tape. The tape length on the bottom corrugated strip was 1 inch long. The tape length on the top strip was longer than 1 inch. 2 environmental chambers were used to speed up the study duration. Specimens were conditioned at a certain combination of temperature and relative humidity for about 24 hours. Packaging tape can be stick to a corrugated box in 2 directions. On the top of the box, the tape runs perpendicular to the flute. On the side, the tape runs parallel to the flutes. The first part of this study was to determine which direction is weaker. Test results showed the direction of tape perpendicular to the flute was weaker. Thus, this direction was used in the rest of the study. For the effective temperature study, relative humidity was kept constant at 50%. 5 different temperatures were used from 30 to 100 Fahrenheit, with a 20-degree increment. It should be noted that the environmental chamber we used could not accomplish the combination of 30 Fahrenheit and 50% relative humidity. Thus, the humidifier was turned off for this case. The results of temperature effect was summarized in the table and graph on this slide. For the humidity study, the temperature was kept constant at 70 Fahrenheit, which was not far from the standard test condition of 73. The relative humidity used were 30, 40, 50, 60, and then jumped to 90%. The results of the study were summarized in the table and graph on this slide. Here are some discussions and conclusions. Packing tape peels off from corrugated box easier on the top, when the tape direction is perpendicular to flutes. The flutes make the corrugated stronger, thus it is harder to peel off the packing tape. The shear strength of tape peaks at about 73 Fahrenheit. As the temperature goes higher than 73, the shear strength is lower. Higher temperature softens the tape's adhesive. Thus, it is easier to peel off at higher temperature. However, when the temperature becomes lower than 73, the shear strength also becomes lower. The lower temperature makes the tape's adhesive more brittle. Thus, it is easier to peel off at lower temperature. For the humidity study, the peak shear strength occurs at about 50%, which is the standard test environment. When the humidity goes higher than 50%, the corrugated absorbs more moisture. Thus, the corrugated becomes weaker and make it easier for the tape to peel off. The lower temperature has little effect on the corrugated strength. Less humidity means drier and more brittle on the corrugated side. Though, it is slightly weaker. Here are some of the future works. Comparing the peel strength using the standard ASTM method at 180-degree peel angle and at 90-degree angle. Comparing the shear strength using recycled versus virgin corrugated. Recycled corrugated has shorter fibers, thus weaker. Comparing different brands of packaging tape. More expensive tapes may use better adhesives. Performing a similar study using PETG and Tyvek, which are common in medical device packaging.